Whoa, boys. I know you guys just clicked on the video looking to edit faster, but before we get too far in the video, guys, please leave a like right now in the video. Leave a like if you're trying to edit quick like this, real quick. Boys, if you're trying to edit quick like that, leave a like right now. Let's get right into the video. Enjoy this. Leave a like, sub if you're new. I'll see you guys in a bit. Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Needle. Today's video will be showing you guys some things that you guys can start doing to help you start editing faster here on controller Fortnite. Now, before we get too far into the video and start showing you some new things, let's break down the basics, get down to the stuff that you need just to start to begin with, which are going to be your settings. Let's go over some settings that you need to have on, such as some binds, some sensitivities, that are overall just going to help with your editing speed and your overall editing smoothness. But the controller edit mode sensitivity is going to be the first big one. Obviously, it's your editing sensitivity, how fast your screen's going to move, how much control you're going to have while editing. Personally, I rock 2 and I have about a 7x7y around there. So keep in mind, so you got to do the math on it. It's not like if you put in a 2 edit mode sensitivity, it's going to be the exact same as mine because it does multiply your X and your Y sensitivity. So something to keep in mind. I would suggest though is a range for your edit mode sensitivity. I wouldn't leave it on 1 no matter what your sensitivity is, even if you have it on 10. So what I would suggest is have your edit mode sensitivity somewhere between 1.3 1.4 all the way up to 2, whatever feels the most comfortable. That's going to allow you to have a little more speed on your edits. Overall, just get the edits done quicker, which is going to make them appear a lot smoother and a lot faster. So that's personally my biggest tip I have for the edit mode sensitivity. 1.3 to 2, go around into edit mode, edit course thing, mess around with it and see what feels the best for you and the most comfortable. Next thing we have here is going to be sprint by default. Going to seem kind of weird. This really doesn't have to do with editing, but it actually kind of does if you think about it, especially if you're doing like an edit course or you just have a lot of edits ahead of you that you know you're doing in a game. Being able to sprint by default is actually going to allow you it's going to allow you just to keep moving and keep your momentum without thinking about holding down the left stick. And what this will do is clear up your left stick bind, which we will talk about in a second for the people that don't play claw. This is going to allow you to, just keep moving while you're editing. And I think we might be able to actually stick our edit on left stick if we're not on claw. We'll get to that in a little second here. Then the last thing we have here is going to be edit mode aim assist. You see I'm hovering over right now. One of the weirdest things they haven't ever added into the game, edit mode aim assist, is something that just, I don't know, it doesn't make sense. You're editing, you don't need aim assist, right? It doesn't make sense why there's ever been an edit mode aim assist. I guess the thought is it'll kind of just help force the last few blocks that you need, kind of sway your edit for you. Overall, it just feels clunky for me and I lose control of the edit that I'm doing. So I personally have edit mode aim assist off. It's one of those things that you haven't tried it off yet. Just go turn it off for a little bit and mess around with it, get used to it. I'm sure you 100% will never come back to having edit mode aim assist on. So make sure to have edit mode aim assist off. Other than that though, that's really going to be it besides the controller edit hold time. For the people that still play on just the standard out there and have not switched to an instant edit button, I guess you're going to want to put your edit hold time maybe not as low as you can go, but a little bit higher, just to have a little bit of a difference there, so it's not like you're going into build mode. But try to have your controller edit hold time down if you're still holding down a button. Now to get to the most important thing, what I use to edit, what button I use to edit. I use triangle, which allows me to have an instant edit, as you might say, just because I'm playing claw and I'm always hovering on triangle with my right finger, my right index finger. But what I would suggest though is maybe even if you're not playing on claw, I know I made a couple videos, the best binds if you're not on claw. What I would suggest though, I think the 3 best ones you can do, left stick, D-pad, no, I'm sorry, I apologize. I think the best 3 that you could have on controller if you're not playing claw would be your left stick, right stick, or the little touchpad right here that I'm hovering on. I think these are the 3 best edit ones. For you that play claw or don't play claw, the left stick and the right stick are pretty self-explanatory. You're never going to be taking your fingers off those. You always have that on, so that way that would allow you just to edit while you're moving and doing whatever. The touchpad might be a little bit harder just because you don't really hit that directly, but you can kind of sneak it with your left or right thumb. I think Ghost Shaw doesn't play claw, if I remember correctly, and that's what he edits with. So that's what I suggest as far as settings, binds, all of that is concerned. I just covered it right there. If I left anything out, please let me know down in the comments. Now we're going to go actually into an edit course and break down different types of edits that you need to be doing, more realistic kind of edits, and some of the edits that you need to start straying away from because they overall might be hurting your editing speed and your editing practice. Now, as you guys can see, we are actually loaded into creative, and there are a couple of reasons why here. So I'm going to load in a few edit courses because the only really way to practice your edits, I'm going to be completely honest, if you want to get quicker, want to get faster, there's only so much you can do with your settings. At the end of the day, it's going to come down to doing some sort of edit course and practicing your edits. That's the easiest way to practice. You know, it's no secret that you kind of have to practice something like this to get better at it. The only thing about it is people do a lot of the wrong practicing. So I have two courses in particular that I want to be showing you guys right here today that I think are going to help your editing, especially if you're a little bit newer, just because they are very good practice and they're doing it the right way, where it mixes editing with shooting, editing with building, instead of just a standard edit course where it's just straight going through the motions of editing. It's going to help you a little bit, but not the most effective practice if it's just straight editing, because that'll never happen in game. So we'll load into these risks in a second and we'll get right. The first course we're going to be talking about today is going to be Selage's Shotgun Training Facility. It seems like a shotgun course, but you guys will see we'll load in. The code is on the screen right now. I'll try my best to put it in the description as well, so screenshot it right now, just in case. Make sure you get the code. It's on the screen, and I'm hopping into this shotgun course. Now, the reason I think this is so important, it's for one simple reason here. And you guys haven't seen on Fortnite just the way his stuff has went. Editing has seemed to be more of a mechanical thing that people have just learned over time, even though it didn't even used to be that big in the game. Like, not many people used to edit. But the thing is, people have gotten really quick, and edits have become really like second nature. People don't even think about the edits they're doing, right? So what you got to do is go into here, choose any of these. This is the hardest. I'll be honest, it's pretty hard. Go into let's start with this one. It's the simplest one. This is literally just an edit course, but it has little like targets or just props afterwards that you should shoot at that allow you to like make an edit and then have a realistic play after it. So this is really good realistic editing practice. It's not like just doing straight edits. You actually are aiming after this, taking out targets, which just gives it that extra little factor to it to make it that much more realistic, that much more fun. So this is actually really good practice. I'll keep running through it a bit, and I'm sure you guys will catch the idea of it. It's usually for this one just like single edits, as I'm doing. Like, these are not very complex edits, but it just gets you in the motion of having a target like just past your edit, which is how it's going to be more realistic, more game-like, I should say. And don't feel obligated to go really fast on this or really slow, whatever it may be. Keep in mind, this isn't for some race or some money or anything. This is just strictly for your own good to get better. So feel free to take your time on this course if you're not going the quickest, getting the smoothest edits off. It'll come with time. You got to take a couple runs on it, and I'm sure you guys will be feeling pretty comfortable with this. But this is Selage's Shotgun Facility, which is based around editing, and I really like it a ton. Shot right after. This one is going to be more about getting your quick muscle memory edits down. This is where anyone's going to see a lot of improvement. Some of the map is really easy if you just on the description, and some of this map is really hard, which I think makes it probably the best editing map for just any casual player out there. So just off rip, let's take a look around and look what we have to work with. So right over here, we have a layer of edit towers. I use these little bouncers to get up to. Edit towers, always going to be good practice flipping ramps around or just straight going down through. Now we have some upward ones that are going uphill, as you guys can see. I guess we'll call these the uphill edits. These are pretty much anything and everything. You got some floors that you're ramping, you're flipping them around, editing through a floor. Then you get the same thing, but you're doing a floor and a cone. Then you have some 4-layer edits over here where you're flipping a ramp, editing through a floor and a cone, and then a wall. So this creates a lot of dynamic because a lot of people can master single edits, such as, you know, this over here. Let me go to this one to show you. Like, this is a single edit right here. You're just doing one edit, resetting, and taking your time on it. But it forces you to get new spots like a double edit like this, or it's kind of a weird spot where you might not be used to this. So if you struggle doing this edit, hop on this right here and just go ham. It's all muscle memory. It all comes down to just learning it over time, and you'll get faster like this. And like I said, this is really good practice just because you may try to build and do all this at once, but you can't. And this kind of simplifies it, breaks it down just to the 2 edits, and allows you to keep going. So we have some people that watch my videos. I'm sure you guys are scrim endgame warriors and you live for box tunneling or box resets such as this. This is amazing practice. So what you do on this one is going to be a little bit over here. You're going to come up, you're going to practice actually resetting it to begin with, and then you actually have to do the edit through, reset the walls to the side, and then same thing, you're right back at it. So you guys can see this is going to be very hard to do on controller, but if you can master this, think about how clean your edits and your resets are going to be online. So let me try to go full motion to display this for you guys, but keep in mind I'm going to mess it up, so let's go for it. Shoot. I was like, I can't even turn fast enough to do this, it's so much. That's the cleanest I can get to look on controller, boys. I'm sorry if it doesn't look the cleanest, but it's all just learn about the motion and going at your own speed. This is a super hard edit. If you can do something like this online, you're going to look goated in scrims when it comes to tunneling in and rotating endgame. That's probably the hardest version they have of any kind of tunneling. This is a little bit cooler. You'll do like 2 cones right here, I think, and then kind of edit through. I think that's the thought of it, but feel free to do however you want, do any kind of edits, and then just get better with it. And the next thing I want to cover, I think is going to help you guys a ton, just because people do this edit so much, and it's actually pretty realistic. I see people doing this a lot, coming down from like old builds and whatnot. Simple edit towers, and I feel like a lot of people stress a little bit too much about having these quick, just because people are always posting Twitter clips of like chronic people doing edit towers, which is, it's cool and all. It's not the make or break thing of a good Fortnite player, though. Don't get too upset if you can't do edit towers pretty fast, but just practice the motion on this. This will help you a ton, learning the basics of every edit. Going to help you with floor edits, and going to help you with your ramps here. So if you want to get quicker, I would suggest doing this for a little bit. I think this could be the easiest way. I've been actually pretty quick at it. If you peep right now what I'm trying to do, let me just go for a little bit, see what I can do.